I once had a boyfriend give me a picture of a lighthouse. Not jewelry, not flowers, a lighthouse. And at the time, I remember thinking, that's sweet, but also oddly specific. Then he said something I wasn't ready to hear yet. He said, "You are the calm people feel before they understand why they feel safe with you." I didn't believe him because at that point in my life, I didn't feel calm. I felt tired. I felt responsible. I felt like if I didn't hold everything together, it would all fall apart. That lighthouse picture sat with me for a long time before it made sense. Because I wasn't being a lighthouse. I was being a rescue boat. I chased people when they were overwhelmed. I jumped in before anyone asked. I explained myself to people who had already decided not to understand me. I overgave to prove I was worthy of staying. And I told myself that made me kind, empathetic, loyal. But here's the part people pleasers don't want to look at. Most of what we call being nice is actually being afraid. Afraid of disappointing, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of being abandoned. A lighthouse doesn't operate from fear. A lighthouse doesn't move. It doesn't chase ships. It doesn't exhaust itself trying to save what refuses direction. It stands exactly where it was built to stand, and it shines. Ships that need guidance will find it. Ships that don't, won't. And that's not harsh, that's reality. I learned this lesson most clearly with my students. I worked with kids carrying trauma they didn't yet have language for. Big emotions, explosive reactions, shutdowns. And here's what surprised me. They didn't need me to fix them. They didn't need me frantic. They needed regulated calm. They needed someone whose nervous system wasn't hijacked by theirs. That's when I realized something life-changing. Calm is not passive. Calm is not weak. Calm is leadership. And people-pleasing destroys calm. Here's a truth that stings the first time you hear it. The more available you make yourself to people who aren't anchored, the more they confuse access with value. They don't fall in love with the light, they fall in love with the convenience. So when you finally stop rescuing, when you stop explaining, when you stop over-functioning, something uncomfortable happens, people drift. And if you're a people pleaser, that moment feels unbearable because your brain translates distance as I failed, I'm selfish, I did something wrong. But here's the reframe that changes everything. You didn't lose people. You lost roles. You lost the fixer role, the emotional dumping ground, the peacekeeper, the one who earns belonging through exhaustion. And when those roles fall away, what remains is real connection or nothing. And nothing is better than a relationship that only survives if you abandon yourself. Let me slow this down and ask you something. If you're honest, not polite, not nice, just honest. Do you feel anxious when someone is upset with you? Do you apologize automatically even when you didn't do anything wrong? Do you feel responsible for keeping everyone comfortable? Do you feel invisible unless you're useful? Do you feel resentment and then immediately feel guilty for feeling it? If yes, listen carefully. You didn't become this way because something is wrong with you. You became this way because at some point in your life, being agreeable kept you safe. But survival skills are not meant to be permanent identities. What protected you then may be suffocating you now. Here's the shift. Lighthouses don't rescue, they orient. They don't carry storms, they stand steady through them. And when you stop rescuing, you don't become cold, you become clear. Clear about what's yours, clear about what's not, clear about who stays without you performing. Here's a simple practice I want you to try this week. Before you say yes to anything, pause. Ask yourself, is this actually my responsibility? Am I helping because I want to or because I'm afraid? What will this cost me tomorrow? If someone I loved was in this situation, would I want them to say yes? That pause alone will start changing your nervous system. Because people-pleasing isn't a personality trait. It's a pattern, and patterns can be interrupted. This is exactly why I created the People Pleaser Detox, not to tell you to stop caring, not to turn you into someone cold or rigid, but to help you. Recognize where you're over-functioning, identify the roles you've been stuck in, learn how to pause instead of react, and rebuild self-trust without drowning in guilt. It's not about becoming selfish, it's about becoming steady. Because the right people don't need you exhausted to stay, they don't need you shrinking to feel secure, they don't need you rescuing to feel connected. They're drawn to who you are, not what you provide. So if things feel quieter lately, if fewer people are pulling on you, if you feel a strange mix of loneliness and relief, you're not losing your way, you're finally standing in it. Stop chasing ships, be the lighthouse. And if you're ready to stop surviving through people-pleasing and start living with clarity and calm, The people pleaser detox is there when you are. You were never meant to rescue everyone. You were meant to shine. Please check the links in my bio for tools that could help.